encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Chew. Achoo.
And hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy?
So
you
loud?
Want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
We really need an engineer on this program. Looks like the Flat Earthers are looking at Zach Wiseman and Dave, Flat Earth Dave. Video, and got a bunch of comments coming in where they're picking on Zach again. Haven't heard from Zach in a long time. Hope he's recovering from his flat earth, I guess, abuse. Anyway, good morning, folks. It is Thursday, usually my favorite day of the week. Not so much today, February 8th, 2024. I got called for jury duty, and I'm going to have to go, because I've said no a couple of times, and you only get to say no a couple of times. Listen, I've served more than most people. When was the last time you got called for jury duty? That's the question. My wife is, in all the time I've known her, has never gotten called for jury duty. Mikey, I've never heard Mikey getting called for jury duty. Oh, none of my friends get called for jury duty. I get called for jury duty like every 2 years or something. I think once you do it, they say, yeah. I don't know when I'm going to have to serve. I would love to get out of it if I could. I think I'm trying to come up with a strategy of just going in there and acting like I hate everything. I hate cops. I hate criminals. I've already made up my mind. I'm not a good juror. The sun's in my eyes. I got a rock in my shoe. I don't want to do it. I have a radio show to do in the morning. Come on, leave me alone. You never see Joe Rogan getting called for jury duty. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe he has. I don't like it. I'm whining about it, I know. Also, last night I found out that for certain another 40-year-old child is coming to be a dependent here and not work while I support him again. And I'm not happy about that. Now, I need to kind of adjust my GD just popping in on his own. Where do you think he just pop in on his own? I need to kind of adjust my thinking to realize that I did this to myself. Whatever comes my way in life, I deserve it. I deserve it for what I've done. So basically, it's my cross to bear. But I'm not happy about it. It's not written anyway that you have to be happy about the shit that you brought into your own life. You have to accept that you brought it into your own life, but you don't have to be happy about it. You don't have to be happy about it. And I'm not happy about it. Another thing I'm not happy about is they're trying to cancel Shane Gillis again. And this has got me triggered. I have to admit, I am triggered by this. I think cancel culture, you should only get one crack at it. And after that, especially if they haven't done something new, they're still trying to cancel them for the slurs that were on a podcast from 2015 or even before that, and what they deemed as slurs. And you know what? I've seen enough of Shane Gillis's work that I don't think he's a racist. But even if you are positive that he is a racist and homophobe or whatever you want to call him, I think he's done his penance, and I think there is enough stuff for you to worry about in your own damn life than trying to get somebody fired for what you think their shortcomings are. Why not try and get yourself on a hosting job on SNL? Well, it's not going to happen for you because you're not funny. That's why. But it's just wasted energy trying to get somebody else canceled again. You got canceled once. That's enough. I don't know why. Why do I even care? It's not me. It's not me getting canceled. It's Shane Gillis, and I don't know. I just feel like one crack at cancel culture should be enough. Jeremy Corbell is a UFO guy. A guy who supports Bob Lazar. We were talking about this yesterday. The guys didn't seem to care about this at all. And you know what? I don't care all that much about it. But I'm going to say I listened to George Knapp, who I did invite on this program 4 years ago, and he's been dodging me like a Los Angeles Dodger. He's just popping in, popping out, popping around, popping over, popping under. He's like a Pop-Tart. So he's got 2 windows down there. He should get rid of one. Oh, now he's got 2. Now it's going to have double echoes and stuff. Anyway, where was it? Oh, Jeremy Corbell. I don't really care about the beef. But this guy, Sean Kirkpatrick, he's calling him a liar. He's arguing with George Knapp that Sean Kirkpatrick is a liar because he's basically saying Bob Lazar is a fraud. Now, all that doesn't matter. What matters, and it was comical, I think, is the way Jeremy Corbell goes about stating his proof that Sean Kirkpatrick is a liar. He's a lying liar who lies, and he's not telling the truth. It's like misinformation. He's lying, and that's like debunking because he's not telling the truth. So that proves he's a liar. And he said that. I'm not kidding. That statement I just made, he did that for an hour. He's a liar who tells lies, and that proves that he's lying because he's just putting out misinformation and disinformation and not telling the truth. So that's the proof he's a liar right there for an hour. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Listen, at some point you got to stop stuttering and say what the lies are. It's just fascinating to watch. And the people, people who have this agenda, these pro-UFO agenda or whatever, pro-UFO, they want to believe. They're Mullers. And that's an X-Files reference for people who are under 50 or whatever. They are just all over this saying, yeah, go Jeremy, you're telling it like it is. He's telling it like it is. I felt like he was just reading Al Franken's cover of his book that said, I think Al Franken's book was Fat Lying Liars and the Lies They Tell or something like that. But you can just go on and say the word lie over and over and over again for an hour. You're not really saying anything and not really offering any. And I wasted an hour listening to him say, waiting for some beef. Where's the beef? That's another old reference for you young people out there. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing to watch. So those are my gripes for Thursday morning. We have an interesting show for you today. We're going to start out with an author of historical fiction. It might be a little bit psychic. I don't know, psychic or very convenient timing with her first book. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about her second book as well. But her first book came out I think I had her on the show like a week after Russia invaded Ukraine, and her book was, I think it's called Sunflowers in the Snow. It was about Ukraine, and at that time, right at that time she was doing that, there was an old lady who was talking about put sunflower seeds in the Russian soldiers' pockets so that when we bury them, sunflowers will come up. Anyway, it was about Ukraine and historical fiction about Ukraine, but the timing seemed almost psychic. And then in the second hour, Chris Burris, who is the owner and head researcher at SES Research with what is it, E6? E6 carbon molecule, that is going to make you almost immortal, practically immortal, kind of like Willie and GD are already practically immortal. Look at GD's looking at his phone or his tablet and saying, "Where am I going here?" Good morning. You got any sound?
I hope so.
Yes, you do. Wow, you're a little loud. Hold on.
But I'm wasting all of my fucking gigs doing this. I can't do it on my phone. My phone is
such language.
I'm sorry. You're right, and I should have done it. Should do it this way first. Okay. First of all, good morning, Willie. But here we go. 6 days until Valentine's Day. If you fuck up, your bed could be as empty as my cup.
Well, maybe you get out on the street, you bring your acoustic guitar with your cup, and maybe the cup will have some money in it, tips. No?
No, my acoustic guitar does not leave the house unless I...
terrible. That's terrible. That's un-American. It's unpatriotic. It's on everything. You should go out.
You're an acoustophobe.
I'm acoustophile. I'm an acoustophile.
You're an acoustophile.
That's right. You're an acoustophobe.
No, I touch my acoustic guitar. I'm not afraid of it. I just don't take it out in public because the pegs. I don't want people touching my stuff.
Peg of my heart. Now, Willie, you look a little tired. You look a little sad. What happened? Did somebody pop your balloon?
No, it's.
I mean, he found out he has another kid on the way.
Sorry that it's all over my face. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm in the mood. I guess.
You're worried about waking up your uncle? You gotta be quiet.
No, not necessarily that.
So that you don't wake up your uncle.
Yeah, shh. They can't hear me, right? So I could scream.
Yeah, we'll do the Coffee with the Dog ASMR version.
May I ask, before we get to our first guest, we'll have to run a commercial before we get to her, but this Shane Gillis thing, are you familiar?
Oh, my God. Listen, I mean, this is what I was talking about, though. Is it like, I think it is absolutely ridiculous. And I think Kelly in the comments over here already brought up a really solid ass point as far as, look at Bill Cosby. It does comedy shows again now that he's out of fucking prison. So if that fuckface can have a career after what he pulled, then what the fuck is your problem with Shane Gillis? You know,
I hear what you're saying, but I've been hearing this about Cosby, but I don't think it's a real. I'm not sure it's a reality. I haven't seen him actually. People have been saying for 2 years, yeah, he still got his career. I haven't seen him doing any shows. Carl said he was going to buy tickets. I haven't heard anything announced, so I'm not sure that's really. But that aside, it doesn't matter about the Bill Cosby thing. I think you should really only get one chance at cancel culture, unless the guy does something else that is he commits a crime, a felony, or beats up Elmo. Are you familiar with the Will Wheaton Elmo thing?
I heard about it, and let's put it this way. I think Elmo, with all he's been through in his life, can probably handle it himself. He's a tough little motherfucker, is what I'm saying. I mean, I would not bet against Elmo, especially with the squad he's got behind him. He's got an entire television workshop behind him.
Will Wheaton was like Star Trek 3 or something. Where I don't know where Will Wheaton's the kid from Stand By Me, but he was also in like Star Trek or one of those.
He did cameos in Big Bang Theory,
right? Okay.
As himself.
He is upset about Larry David hitting Elmo the Muppet. And he's really upset about it, crying about it in videos and starting a campaign to get Larry David canceled over smacking a Muppet in a joke.
See, Larry David is 103. His career is almost over anyway. Elmo has I'm going to bet at least 5 or 6 more years in his career left over, and not to mention the amount of kids that Elmo is influencing. I think Elmo's career and influence will far surpass Larry David's career and influence.
All right. The only reason I brought it up is if Shane Gillis, does something again, like something more egregious, like slapping Elmo, maybe you could get a second crack at the cancel culture. But they're trying to cancel him for things that they already tried to. They effectively canceled him over,
Right.
and he's paid it. He went to prison. He got his tattoo on his neck. He's out there. He paid his debt to society. Leave him alone. And I don't think he's a racist. And that's my judgment on
No,
it.
I don't think so either, man. I think
I'll
that
be
he's
the
a very
judge
good
if he's
comedian.
a racist. I'll tell you if he's a racist. You don't tell. No,
I get to say. It wasn't about black people. It's accused racism anyway. So you don't.
That's even worse. He's too racist to even be racist against black people. He's ignoring my people. He can oppress everybody else but my people. That is so racist.
I think you need to. I need to give a little bit of that energy to Willie this morning.
I will not abide by this. I want to be hated like everybody else. Okay, I want equal hate.
All right. Well, he doesn't hate anybody. In my view, I think he's a good guy.
I think he hates himself.
It's just a comedy.
I have no idea. I know nothing. I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know anything about. I don't even
comedy.
know his name.
Comedy.
I don't know anything about him.
Comedy. You know it's up here. Comedy.
Comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him. So honestly, I don't know.
Me and Willie are gonna have a Normandorf here.
Yeah.
Well, if it weren't for you two guys, I would not know who he was.
You wouldn't know any comedians who are working today if it weren't for us, and that's pretty sad because I'm really not all that informed myself. But
I did put out because I noticed that you shared your thing for Booking Now again or whatever. I did put out that in some comedy groups and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping to get an influx.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting involved. People from all over the world. You know what? Yesterday we had a guy on from the Netherlands who was he's from the UK, went to Australia, now in the Netherlands. People coming applying for guest appearances. Probably about 50 of them. I got to go through all of them. Some of them have been approved. Some of them. Yeah, well, in 3 days, the last 3 days. But
they're trying to get booked for one day.
No. This is what I was just about to say. Some of them want dates in September. I got somebody who was asking for July. It's like, why so far away? It's not like you got one comedy show coming up in July you want to promote or something.
Well, no. So there's like one of the things that I do is that like there's competition pages and stuff like that. And so, I tell people like if they've been accepted into a festival, if they're going to be in a festival, so they might be trying to book closer to when the festival is or whatever. I imagine some of it's that. So,
all right. We got Brendan Walsh coming up next week. I got to get in touch with him and remind him. I have a feeling he probably is out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Matt Knutson, you know Matt Knutson? See, I knew GD wouldn't know.
Is he a comedian? Then I don't know.
Yes, he's a comedian. He's on I think it's an HBO show, Shrinking, with Harrison Ford. He's a lead in that. He's got a long resume of being on all the late night shows. Very good comedian. He'll be here on the 20th of this month. He's got a book and a new special out, and he's on all 3 seasons of Shrinking. It just wrapped the shoot of season 3, I think. Might be only 2 seasons. I don't know, but just finished that. Again, he's co-star of Harrison Ford. That's pretty big stuff, I think.
Harrison Ford, please.
What?
I call him Harry.
Barely has a career.
I call him Harry. I call him Harry.
Don't be talking smack about Han Solo, okay?
Okay, first of all,
you guys are gonna fight. Hold on.
No, it's not. First of all, I'm not talking smack about Han Solo. You realize Han Solo is not real? Okay, that's Yoda.
But he's played by Harrison Ford.
Yoda is the only real
Willie,
from that show.
The uncle.
That's right. Calm down, Willie. Don't wake up your uncle. Don't wake up your dead uncle.
I'm gonna smack you so hard I'll wake up your dead uncle.
And I have a lawyer waiting for your ass. I'm too old to fight. Somebody hits me before I hit the ground. The first word is like, Lawyer.
Lawyer.
Oh,
I talked to Harrison Ford for 2 minutes on the radio show. I think in 1990, something like that, and then maybe 89. They were doing something about American graffiti. And his publicist was getting him on everything. He was on my radio show, but he only lasted like 2 minutes. He was not happy with talking to me. Speaking of Brazil,
hi Carl.
What's with the face?
Geez. Look at that mean mug.
He came to fight you guys.
What's up, man?
Carl's got some connectivity problems. Good morning, Carl.
Hey.
Carl, are you?
Can you hear me okay or not?
Yeah, we can hear you okay. Are you in our time zone now, or are you a little bit on my time zone, or are you a little bit askew?
I'm 2 hours ahead of you.
Yeah, you're out in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. That's where you are.
So you can tell me
somewhere jotted out into the Atlantic Ocean, yeah.
2 hours? So you can tell me what can happen to me 2 hours from now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it is cancer. Sorry.
It's not penis cancer, is it? Because I've heard some awful things about penis cancer.
Well, I want to clear that up. We don't have time. We have a guest who's waiting to come in. Oh, Carl got a dog. You got a dog.
Right. Terry's going to have to wait.
Your amigo.
I need the dog. I need a puppy doggy.
Your amigo. All right, man. Go talk to your guest. I need to shower and stuff anyway.
Yeah, you see.
I didn't want to mention it, but you are kind of right.
All right. Well, Kelly's happy. She gets to see Carl. We all miss you here, Carl. You got to stop in more often.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been away. I've been away. I'll be back soon.
All right.
Very soon, and then I'll be around a lot more.
All right, cool. Let me see how much.
I know you're a fugitive. We know you're a fugitive from the law. We know that. That's why you keep skipping around the world, trying to jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
All right. I'm going to play a commercial. When we come back, we're going to meet Terry Brown.
Hi, Terry Brown.
Yeah. You guys are going to meet Terry Brown. I've already met her.
Yeah, Terry and I go way back. I knew her before you knew her.
I think I'm going to freak her out with the commercial.
I knew Terry back when she had 2 R's in her name, and then
not the sex
one of the R's for her career. I go way back.
Carl, are you familiar with our latest sponsor, Tracy's Dog?
Is this the sex toys?
Yeah.
I'll stick one up my ass. If we get a free one, I'll shove one up there. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't know if Terry's quite prepared for this, but we will play the bit, and when we come back, you guys will get to meet Terry, and we'll talk about a lot of things, books and historical fiction and all that kind of stuff. We lost Willie. He's left the chair. Willie has left the chair. Oh, we got our Willie back. Oh, how come I'm up there? That's not good. We don't want me up there. Anyway, it's time for you guys to meet Terry M. Brown. Terry is born in Athens. I think she was an Army brat, maybe Air Force brat. She now lives in. Listen, how do I do this? There's a mountain range on the eastern part of America. A mountain range that begins with A.
Appalachian.
Is that how you say it? Appalachia?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Willie, how do you say it?
The people who live there say Appalachia.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know that. Okay.
Because I've hyped it.
All right. Good morning, Terry. We can't have that. Good morning, Terry.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Now, that's a great welcome to the show. Let me tell you. That's I mean, wow! What an advertisement. And GD, of course you know me because I'm not a comedian. And so
now, full disclosure, this is a few years ago. I treated Terry and Bruce for a condition called tandem taint. That's when you spend a lot of time on a tandem bicycle and the seat just gets all up in that taint and it hurts. And I treated them both for it.
You did. I don't recall that, GD, but I will thank you for it, because that was actually an issue. 3,102 miles on a tandem will do that to you.
Right. Yeah. My God, I can't imagine that. I think I talked about this with you when you were on the evening program. I went for a bike ride that I tried to just go. My car was like 4 miles away, and I didn't want to wait for my wife to get home. And I got on the bike, and I didn't make it. I didn't make it to 4 miles. But we have lots of hills and stuff like that.
Well, I did cross the Rocky Mountains.
I know you did. But I do need to get in shape. To get in shape is, if you can't go 4 miles, there's no getting in shape.
Yeah.
I started by saying I think you're a little bit of psychic. I'm remembering now. I think it was like a week after the invasion of Ukraine. You were on the program with a book. Obviously, you couldn't have written the book that quickly, and it was Sunflowers Beneath the Snow. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. So Sunflowers Beneath the Snow came out 2.5 weeks before the current Ukrainian crisis.
Right.
Just crazy. And people said to me, "How did you know?"
Exactly.
It was like, no, see, I'm still walking free. If I knew the government would have me, and there'd be all kinds of things going on. So it was, talk about like crazy coincidence. It was truly a crazy coincidence, but it has been, I hate to say that anything with war is good, but it's been good for me in that it's not been good for me. You know what I'm saying?
I've been profiting great.
I'm really,
so you're like Dick Cheney.
It's too early in the morning.
You're like Dick Cheney, profiting off of war. I get it.
No, I'm just saying that my book has gained more attention simply because of the topic.
Right.
And so, it's a crazy time.
I know that's a difficult thing to say without seeming like you're cold-hearted.
And I'm not. And
no,
so
I get it.
Just to clear it up so that people are listening, I actually took a lot of money that came in for that book and put it toward Ukrainian
relief efforts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. To help people who were, especially like kids and families and whatnot who were displaced. So,
right.
I'm not that horrible person. And then I've been asked, are you going to write a sequel? And the answer is, maybe potentially, but certainly not right now.
Right.
A horrible person, you're saying exactly what a horrible person would say, though. I do good things. I spend money to good causes. I'm not a horrible person.
GD, I'm not a horrible person. I absolutely hate everyone equally.
I love you. You are my kind of person.
I just wanted to let you know that, I dislike you as much as I dislike everyone else.
Bless you. Can we keep her, Matt?
Yeah, but you know what? She doesn't dislike you as much as everybody else dislikes you. That's the problem.
That's hard. There's a lot out there, and I would have to really,
Right. But so when you were first on the program with that book, and we were discussing it and the timely nature of it, I was talking about it on the morning show a lot, that there were a lot of people who were thinking that was going to be 3 months in and 3 months over, like a very short war, and it's still going on. Any thoughts on and I don't want to get into the whole politics of it, but do you have any optimism that that's going to get resolved anytime in our lifetime?
Yeah, so my husband is a vet, 25 years in, and when he discusses it, he says what's going to happen is that the rest of the world is going to allow Russia to spin out. They're going to allow them to keep fighting until they have nothing left, and then they're not going to be a force to reckon with. And that's what he believes is going on, and that they're allowing Ukraine to kind of be the poor whipping stone at the moment while they let Russia spin out. Now, I don't know. That's his opinion.
Yeah, well,
That
it's
sounds like
born.
they're trying to do like Afghanistan too. Then
Right. I was going to say it's born out of historical truths
Yes.
because we had that in Vietnam. Russia had that in Afghanistan already
Yeah.
once. It definitely, I think the way wars are fought now, and I've said this 100 times, is you don't win wars with killing people. You win by convincing hearts and minds to change. And I know that sounds like utopian hippie talk, but really, uh, I think that
I want to know where your little flowers are
yeah,
around your head. Yeah.
there was my hair.
and
I
so he can't
see.
even grow hair. You think he can grow flowers?
But I do think like that's the way the world is now. You can't just go in and beat a country down because you're never going to change the minds and hearts of people with
Right.
sports even. But
Well, and in this particular case, Ukraine and Russia have such a history, and Ukraine wants independence so badly that you're not. And I mean, even if Russia actually like wins the war, they're never going to win the people.
right,
And
that's
so
exactly
it's
my
it's
point.
going to come back again. So even if they win now, they won't win 20 years from now or whenever that happens again. So
Right. Now, as a historical fiction writer, do you pay close attention to current events and kind of figure out, thinking in terms of how will this work out in a novel?
I pay attention to current events just because that's who I am. A lot of times my novels do seem to go along with current events, but in my opinion, it's simply because history keeps repeating itself over and 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 over. And so, like my current book is talking about, there's racism in there, and there's family angst, and there's old versus new, and all of those things. All of that happens today.
Right.
There's nothing new going on. That the setting is different, but the things that go on in human life, I think, is pretty straightforward, and it just keeps happening.
Right.
It's like
Now
an MGM movie. It's like boy meets girl, girl
Yeah.
loses, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back, and then girl says, "I can find a better boy." I think
Yes. I mean, it's just, and it's the same things over and over, because I've had people say about Daughters of Green Mountain Gap. So like, oh wow, that's like so much like today. And it's, well, yeah, it is like today, because pretty much all history is like today.
right. If you could give people an idea of, without just giving them the whole book,
Yeah.
tell them a little bit about what the story is and the
All right.
time frame of it all.
and
All
tell
right.
them about
So
page 29. I love page
page
29.
29 in particular, I'll look that up.
Yeah.
So it is a story set in the 1890s in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. Appalachia. Um, just so you know. And it is about a granny woman, and a granny woman is a healer. So that's the woman that understood like roots and herbs and how to deliver babies, and usually these women were generational healers. So their mothers were healers, their grandmothers, their great grandmothers. And Maggie is a healer. And I tell everyone that she does roots, herbs, and a little bit of mountain magic. There's just like a little bit of magical mysticism to her ability to heal people. She has a daughter, Carrie Ann, who blames her mother for the death of her father, and says, if you were a better healer, he wouldn't have died. And she goes off and becomes a nurse and tries to bring modern medicine back to her community. And then there's the granddaughter. So Carrie Ann's daughter, Josie May. And Josie May also wants to be a healer, but doesn't know who she's supposed to follow. And she kind of realizes there isn't necessarily a right way, because both mom and grandma lose people.
Interesting stuff. Now, I think I asked you this, but on the evening program. But have you any experience with mountain magic, as you call it?
No. So not personally, but I know people. Like, as I started doing research, so this whole book started because I had a wart. Okay, no lie. I had a wart on my thumb. I was in seeing my primary care doctor for not the wart, just, a 6-month checkup or whatever. And I said, "Hey, while I'm in here, can you like get rid of this for me?" And she said, "Oh no, we would have to send you to a specialist." And I thought, for a wart? So I just
Compound
went.
W.
Seriously. So I just went to, the CVS and got myself a little patch, and that was the end of it. But a few weeks later, I was talking to my brother on the phone. We were complaining about, healthcare. I told him my wart story, and he says to me, "Why didn't you get someone to talk it off?"
I could probably do that.
I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I got a buddy that talks off warts." Well, I'm the person in my family that you tell a story to, I fall hook, line, and sinker, and then for the next 16 Christmases, I have to hear about. You remember that time we told Terry? So I didn't fall for it. I refused to fall for it, and I just kind of let it pass. But when we got off the phone, I'm a research junkie, and I could not let something like that go. So of course I had to look it up, and darned if there wasn't people who talk off warts. They say certain things, and then within a week your wart falls off. And then as I'm doing more research, no, seriously, as I'm doing more research, and people can like blow in your mouth and get rid of thrush, and they can talk to breech babies and get them to flip in the womb, and all of these things. And as I'm doing more and more research, I ran into this idea of the granny woman in Appalachia. And immediately Maggie was born, starts living in my head and telling me stories, and that's where Daughters of Green Mountain Gap came out.
I got to see this. I mean, not that I need to see proof that it works, but I want to see what it really looks like. Somebody talking to a wart. I'm interested in having somebody talk my mole off. The only reason this mustache is still here is because there's a mole under there that makes me look like I don't know.
Whoa! Hang on. Are you saying that you're going to get rid of the Tom Selleck mustache if you can get rid of that mole? No.
I want to get rid of the mole. I probably would get rid of the mustache.
But why the mustache? We love the mustache.
Yeah, I don't.
You, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. The mustache, it's kind of like it's become your thing, isn't it? Like,
all right.
it's your logo.
Let's just say there's a possibility I keep the mustache, but the mole that's underneath it. I would like it talked off.
In all of the research that I did, I never saw anyone who talked off a mole. I'm sorry, now I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
I really want to see what it looks like.
Chopped off the mole. We can chop it up and make some.
Yeah, you can choke it off.
Sorry.
You can tie a string around it and choke off the supply, and it falls off.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. Because that's what you do with skin tags and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if you know this. I used to have a mole on my face right here, but I didn't talk it off. I chopped it off with a toenail clipper. Yeah.
Ow!
And
you would say, wait, one more time.
Yeah,
scar tissue.
That's insane. Dude.
There's some scar tissue. I did that while I was in prison, and the reason that I did it in prison is because I had this mole, my whole life. But when I became a teenager and I started shaving, I accidentally nicked it one time. And then there was a corner of it kind of up, and I kept messing with it. And the next thing I know, I pull it off my face. But it grew back. It fucking grew back. And when
that's exactly my problem.
It split, and there was a little bubble that came out. And it was
all right,
big.
We don't need to get all graphic about it.
And they, when I got to prison, I didn't think anything about this mole for years of my life. But I got to prison, and they started calling me Trip Nip. They started calling me Trip Nip and Nipple Face and stuff like that. And I was like, what the hell are you guys even talking about? It doesn't look like that or whatever. But because it was right on the high point of my cheek or whatever. And so one day I was out on the tier, and the sun happened to be shining in such a way that I caught my shadow, and I saw from my shadow that it looked like I had a fucking nipple on my face. And I was like, oh, hell no. And so I went in right away, and I got a fingernail clipper to try and clip it off, but it wouldn't even fit on there. So I had to get a toenail clipper. And I did, and I and I had to twist and it was really bad.
If there's a God, please make this
Terry.
stop. Please make this.
Terry, did you get all that?
I did. I got. Unfortunately, I heard every single word.
So you don't need him to repeat it because
no, thank you. Thank you, though. No.
Okay.
I took copious notes. Got the whole
I was about
thing.
to say, good.
Thank you.
Just your next book, The Man in
Definitely
the Mole.
has to have a man yanking a mole off his face with the toenail clippers. I got
the
it.
Man, the Mole, and his moment.
Yeah.
But so I guess this started because I'm really interested to see the actual process of talking it off. Like, are they talking to the mole or wart?
So there's different. Apparently, there's different methods. Some people have like a little chant that they say. Some people just say, "Okay, wart, it's time to go away." Some people buy it, like they give you a nickel for it, and now it's theirs. And so within a week, it falls off and it becomes their wart.
So you let go of it.
Does it
Yeah.
grow on the other person?
Hold on, I'm putting an ad on Craigslist right now. Mole for sale. Mole for sale.
Okay, so you have to remember, I did research. I've never actually seen that happen. In the process, though, I have met people whose grandmothers were considered the granny women of their community, and they talk about things like people with these, horrible stomach conditions, and they concoct these teas made of different roots and herbs, and that these people become healed. One of the things that I think what's going on actually is when you think about the fact that in science, we know, for instance, that people who are in pain, you can give them placebo pain pills and they claim their pain is better, right? And yet nothing that they took orally changed anything. So it's definitely something going on in their head. I believe our bodies are wired. Yeah, our bodies are wired to heal. That's, they're meant to be healthy. And
I agree.
I think that there is, when it comes to these granny women, they believe that they have power. And the people who go to them believe that they have power. And that belief, that faith in that healer is what changes them and allows them, it allows the wart to fall off, or it allows whatever. I think that's what it is. It's a faith thing.
Yeah, I grew up. My peoples are from North Carolina. The
Appalachia.
Carteret County.
Yeah.
At least on my father's side, that's where my peoples are from, and so I have quite a bit of the. I was raised with a lot of that stuff.
The magical kind of. Yeah. No, and I think there's a lot to it. If you look at, for instance, this book also talks about the Cherokee Nation and some of their beliefs. And when you look at what they believe, when there's someone sick, everyone gathers. Everyone who loves that person gathers, and they add their own belief and faith. It's a different granny, but yes.
Well, but I just bring this up because if you follow the Beverly Hillbillies.
Well, yeah, no, but yeah.
She had all those remedies,
she had her own
possum,
ways of fixing things. Yeah,
ways of fixing things, and so, but with the Cherokee, like I was saying, the Cherokee, like I was saying, they gather everyone together because they believe he can't be seen around my book.
That's right.
I was reading the back cover though.
Oh, good, good. Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
But that idea of like combining faith of all the people present, and I love that idea as well, because I do think that we all have connections that we don't, in our modern world, we don't even know how to do it. Like we don't know how to connect with one another on that level. But I think that our brains somewhere in there do. Right. When you look at like how much of our brain we use purposefully, it's just a little small portion. There's all the rest of it. It's doing something.
Yeah.
And I think that we, if we could like learn to get inside of ourselves, we would be able to make these connections. And I think that's what healing is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy, but
Matt, maybe you're not crazy.
Why we need to do DMT.
Why we need what?
DMT is a naturally occurring substance that's in your body. It's a hallucinogenic. It's also something that you smoke. It's like LSD.
Is that what they're using now to help people with PTSD?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's not like long affecting like LSD. Like it's 15 minutes in and out. But there is a lot of. I had Dr. Rick Strassman, who was the first researcher in this stuff, and they are using it for all sorts of depression cures and suicidal ideation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They call it. People refer to it as like the God trip because people who've done it swear they actually see angels or entities come around and point out things that change their life and all that kind of stuff. It's a very interesting chemical, anyway.
Yeah. Well, and you know, who's to say that they're not onto something? Because I really, you know, and I am not suggesting everyone run out and, you know, go get high. That's not what but I'm just saying I think there's a lot to healing that modern medicine doesn't really touch upon.
Right.
You
We
know,
are second guest on our guest in the next hour. Chris Burris has a SES research, and basically I don't know if he's discovered this molecule or what. They've in all the trials that they've done on lab animals and rats and things like that, they double their lifespan. And basically the claim is that if you take this thing every day, you could live to a male 150, a woman 160 years old or something in that, increase your lifespan by double. And, you know, every time I tell people about this, they totally poo-poo it. I said, but I think you have to keep an open mind to, because of all the things you just mentioned. Like modern medicine is not, it helps and they made society completely better.
I'm not against modern medicine in any way. I just don't think that it has all the answers.
Right.
Because if it had all the answers, we wouldn't have people dying.
Right. That's what Willie.
Because we still have guns.
I think too that I think modern medicine is more focused on treating ailments and not curing ailments or preventing ailments.
Well, so
because the money is in the treatment.
And it's in the treatment. I think modern medicine definitely is what I call the unhealthy model. They wait until you're unhealthy and then they try to do something about it. I mean, even our insurance is that way. Like they won't, for instance, help me lose a little weight. But if I get diabetes, they'll pay for all my meds.
Right. That's a good point. I'm smiling because you said insurance. like somebody from Appalachia would say insurance.
What should I have said?
You should say it like you say it. You should say it exactly how you're comfortable saying it. In New York, we call it insurance.
Insurance.
The emphasis is on the sure.
Okay. Well, you know.
Sure.
Insurance.
But no, I like the way you. It's difficult. Insurance. It's difficult for me to say insurance. It's difficult for you to say
insurance. I don't know. It's just the way I've always said it.
I feel like you're both saying the same word. How weird am I?
You're from South Dakota or something.
Yeah,
insurance. English in South Dakota.
Insurance. There. Got it.
I'm sorry to derail the conversation here about how to pronounce words.
That's all right.
I say insurance.
Insurance?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I noticed that you're calling this like a book launch tour because it seemed like 3 or 4 months ago now that we had you on the evening show and you were talking about this book. Are you? Did it just come out?
So it actually came out January 23rd.
Okay.
So it's only been out 2 weeks.
All right. Now you're going around doing podcasts and radio shows and that kind of stuff. And is it? Do you enjoy that part of it? The marketing part, you do?
So it's a lot of authors don't. A lot of authors are
that's why
more kind of, I mean, they're like into their writing and that's the only part they want to do. And when I first got started, I didn't realize I was going to have to do marketing. And I would have said that I did not enjoy this. But I went on a couple of podcasts once I realized that Sunflowers Beneath the Snow wasn't selling because nobody knew it was there. And so I went on a few podcasts and realized I enjoy that. Like, I really like the back and forth. I like getting to know people. So I've found that the best things that work for me are podcast radio shows and then live events. So I go and do readings and meet the author events and coffee with the author and those kinds of things. And that's really the best way, because a lot of times people, although they want to read and get to know books, they actually kind of become close to an author. And so if they've met you, now they want to read everything that you've written. And then
Yeah.
they're breathlessly waiting for the next thing.
Right.
And
Right.
if they don't meet you, it was just a book they read. And they
Right.
might not even be able to remember the author's name.
Yeah, I get that. Now, I have a lot of friends. I shouldn't say a lot of friends. I know several people who have books and bookshelves and bookshelves and books, and don't read them. They buy books not to read them. And the question is, does that would because as a musician, if somebody has my CD and they haven't listened to it, I feel personally hurt. Like, why do you even have it? If does it hurt you in some way that people might have your book and never read it?
I mean, yeah, sure I want them to read it. I mean, of course I want them to read it, but I can't do anything about what someone does once it's out of
I
my
know,
hands.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I have so many things going on in my life
Right.
to worry about that's one that I just let go.
So
If
you're
they want
not
to,
trying to get Shane Gillis canceled? You don't have energy and time for that?
I don't have the energy and time for that today. No,
Well,
maybe
some
tomorrow.
people-
Maybe
some
tomorrow. I
people-
mean, talk to me tomorrow. I might have a different opinion, but today it's not on my, yeah.
Yeah.
Some people buy books and they have like an intention to read it because it's like summer reading.
Yes.
So like they buy your book in January, but they're not even going to think about reading it until that summertime when they do their summer reading on the deck or something.
Yeah,
Right.
I get that.
Well,
yeah.
and people have what they call their TBR list, to be read.
Right.
And there are people who have 4,000 books on their TBR list. And I think that's not really a TBR list.
Holy cow.
That's like a bucket list of things that you never really intend to get to.
Well,
Like my bucket list is very short, and it's short because I have every intention of hitting all of those things on my bucket list. That is something I am going to do.
right.
So it's the same with my reading list. My TBR list right now has about 30 books on it, but I read between 40 and 60 books a year.
Right.
So having 30 books on my TBR list means I'll get those read this year.
Me too. Well, I won't get them right because, now that I've slowed down with author interviews, we have a couple of authors on probably a week on this program, but I'm only doing one show a night. I'm getting less books, but I still have, I'm not a neat person. So I have a stack, 2 stacks actually, of towers of books that I need to get to of authors who I've interviewed, and I promised I would read their book. But so now that's where I wanted to transition into. You adopted a podcast, right? Are you still doing doing that?
I am.
How does the adoption process work in podcasting? The podcast is born, then the mother and father give it up, and it goes to a
Right.
orphanage or something.
Well, no. So Jennifer was so it's Online for Authors is the podcast that I'm doing, and Jennifer was running it, and she just got too busy and was busy doing other things that were of more interest to her, and she had asked me if I would like to be a guest host and do a couple of guest hosts. Essentially, can you help me with some of these authors? I can't get to all of this. And so I did guest hosting and loved it. And then she came to me about 4 months after we started with that, and she said, I'm giving up the podcast. Do you want it? And the reason I took it was because all of the back end stuff was in place. I didn't
Right.
have to start from scratch.
Right.
I've changed it a little bit. Hers was more focused on marketing, and mine is more focused on the authors and their books. I want them to use the podcast for their marketing, but that's not necessarily what we're talking about on the
Yeah,
show.
me too. I like to hear the writer's journey, what got them
Yes.
interested in writing about that subject, how they move it through the process of writing. Because sometimes and I'm sure you know this, inspiration comes in like strong waves, and you just dive into it, and then you're 3 chapters in, and you're stuck, and you don't know where you're going from there. There's all those kind of interesting backstories about the creative process.
Right.
That I'm
Well,
wanting
and
to-
there's people who plot that they have the whole thing laid out before they ever begin to read. And then there's
Right.
people like me who are called pantsters,
Yeah.
who we write by the seat of our pants. Like I get an idea and I just start writing. see where it goes. And so there's just, I love hearing about those kinds of things. I also understand that authors like me, I have 3 books out now. My first one came out just 2 years ago. And I didn't know anything. I didn't have a platform. I didn't know how to have one. There are a lot of authors like that who write exceptional books and have no clue how to get out there. And I want my podcast to be at least one safe space that they feel like they can land.
Right.
Where we can talk about their book.
I was talking about it, and I talk about it often, that in the creative arts, there are people who talk about support for communities and stuff like that. Comedians talk about it all the time, but they end up being backstabbers. Musicians talk about it, then there's backstabbers, but not to the degree that comedians are. Authors are the most supportive, truly genuine,
loving
supportive,
and giving. It is crazy to me. I actually just had a podcast with an author. Her name's Elaine Schroller, and she and I are truly competitors. She writes historical fiction. Her books are up for the very same awards my books are up for. Inevitably, if she wins it, of course, I can't. And then I win the next one and she didn't. And nonetheless, I like her. She likes me. We help one another. We just traded. Hey, have you looked at this award? No, I've never seen that one. Hey, have you seen this one? Like there's something. It's almost like it doesn't, even though we're competitors, we're not.
Right.
And I love that about the author community.
Right,
and
yeah. You can be competitive without having hatred.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a common love of language.
Do what?
I think it's a common love of language.
Maybe.
If you have people who join together over a common love, something they really are passionate about, that's different. I think with authors, they have, let's say, the common love of language. Comedians are generally selfish, and they don't have a love of language. They have a love of love me.
Love me, love my
me. Right.
Yeah, because they're trying to. That's what the craft is. It's really trying to fill that hole in your soul that is dying for acceptance and recognition from strangers. That's what comedians.
And I look at it too. As an author, I can't crank out books. It takes time. And so when I have someone who finishes, for instance, you finish Daughters of Green Mountain Gap, I'm sorry, it's going to be at least a year before I have another one for you to look at. So in the meantime, why don't you go read Elaine? She's got a good book out.
Right.
I think that's
what you
part
just
of it
said
too.
is kind of counter to my impression, because listen, 3 books in 4 years that I've known you, or probably even less than that, 2.5 years that I've known you, 3 books in 2.5 years is kind of cranking them out a little bit.
So I had someone who read Daughters of Green Mountain Gap early.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I read them early. So they were what I call an advanced reader. They got my advanced reader copy, so they're an ARC reader. They read it in December, and their first thing to me was, oh, that was great. When's your next one coming out? And it's like, this one isn't even out yet.
we live in a world that is just really content starved. I don't know, just demanding. And coming back to the comedy thing, I think people in comedy are feeling stressed out by that. The constant need to be feeding their audience something. It's just
and you can't keep doing the same old jokes because you want that audience to come back, and so you have to have this new material all the time. And so it's.
Hey, do me a favor. If you ever get a author on your show who has written a book that is either really a funny book or it's about the art of comedy or any of that kind of stuff, please recommend them to us and let them know we're here, because it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about. Anyway,
fantastic. Well, the book that I'm currently writing is funny, but I don't know that it would fit this crowd.
Yeah, nothing fits this crowd.
No, so I'm writing a book, a humorous look at a woman going through menopause. So it's going to be really funny, but you're really not my audience. So
but if
I have a wife that's going through that, and I don't find much of it funny.
Yes.
You don't find it interesting or funny at all, huh? Well, I can tell you neither does your wife.
maybe I shouldn't share all this personal information, but my wife is in her mid-50s now and still has not experienced it. It's
And
kind of
when
strange.
she does, you're going to have fun, and so is she.
Believe me, I'm dreading it because the later it comes,
like a storm.
that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be like, when it finally happens, it's going to be the worst one that's on record.
Or she could be like my mother, and my mother was 65 before she stopped
It's going to be an
menstruating.
atmosphere river.
Wow.
And she never experienced menopause ever.
Wow.
She just
please make that happen.
So maybe that's your wife.
Yeah, I hope so.
Of course, I think they're only one in a bazillion, and that was my mother.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyway, so you know what? I appreciate you coming on here and getting up early and sharing this information with you. Daughters of the Green Mountain Gap. Now, how long is this tour you're on going to last? How long?
So I try to do things like for about 3 months of really pressing it. And then, of course, I continue doing it forever, but I call it my tour, like through the end of March. And so you'll see me on, if you know any podcasts and I'm not on it, send me an email and let me know, because I love to get out there and share and talk. And I like to laugh and,
You know my friend Jennifer Gordon? She has Box Barrett. Yeah, something like that. She's an author, and she has an author podcast. I will send you her information.
That'd be great. I'd love that. I'd love that.
It's been really good to catch up with you again,
Thank
and great having you on the show. Thank you for coming here. TerryMBrown.com if you want to get the book. Thank you, and we'll see you again when the next book comes out. I know it's not, you think it's not for our crowd, but we'll definitely love to talk to you about that and share some more conversation.
All righty, wonderful. Thanks,
have
guys.
A great day. Bye for now. Terry M. Brown, folks. Let me change this look here. And put GD back in the room like a normal
now,
guy.
How do you get
and take the book out of here?
To the side like that?
You see under the main video window, there are different layouts. You see these layouts? This kind of I don't know if you can see what I'm pushing here.
Yeah.
On the bottom there. So I above them, I think I have names written on them, like 3 cams, 4 cams, 5 cams, and stuff like that. So, and you can draw your own. Let me move the book.
How do you get the book?
You got to do a PNG. So it's got to be you got to do a 19 by 20 PNG with transparency and place the book wherever you want it to be. Like often I will do it in the middle when it's just going to be me and the author. But for this morning, it's basically it's just there small like that on a transparent PNG. I undid this again. So that. Actually, that fits good in this model too, and it covers up the GD, so all you have to see is finished in there.
Yeah,
I like that because we don't want people
to know
who it really is.
I don't have to be me. I could be my brother, my father, my mother. It doesn't matter. But
they're all dead.
Yeah, I'm the last one.
You're not dead.
Do we have a second hour yet?
Just my career.
We have a second hour guest coming, Chris Burris, who is SES Research, who's going to give you a delay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, my guest last night was really intrigued by this idea of living to 150 or whatever. And I know yesterday you said no, and I know I wasn't. My first response was, I don't want to live to 150, but I think you're thinking like I was thinking, in that what a 150-year-old man would look like. But if you could keep the same vitality, physical shape you're in now, mental shape you're in now at 150, would that make a difference?
No, because he'd shoot himself in 10 years.
I already feel like I'm 70, so I don't know.
All right. I just think, even at 60, what am I, 64, 65? What am I, 64? I think if I could stay like this, I would like to live another 40 or 50 years or so. But I know that I'm going to be like... Yeah, falling apart. And nobody wants to be falling apart.
Quality of life is what really matters. Like, I don't want to live to be 150 and not, and somebody's been wiping my ass for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want shit like that.
Why let them wipe it? Just let it go. Natural. natural, man. Just let it hang.
All right.
Gross,
So anyway,
Gross. Ugh.
why do we let him talk? Why do we let him talk?
It's February.
All right. That's right. I can't wait till March gets here.
Where the white women at?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm noticing that I'm getting pretty laggy. I'm gonna try.
You laggy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, get out and come back in. Restart. Do
Lagga.
whatever you got to do.
He's a lagga.
Lagga. What was just talking about that made me yeah, I'm having a dementia moment here. Oh, you said where the white woman at? Blazing Saddles. Yesterday had its anniversary of its original release, and Mel Brooks was trending because of that. 1972, I believe it first came out.
Could have been. I don't know.
Yeah. So what would that be? That would be 52 years? No, 52 years. Yeah.
I guess.
It's gone. See, it was all that relevant stuff was there yesterday, but it's not. And I don't know how to look that up now. Well, I could just look Blazing Saddles release date, right? But that's a movie that couldn't be made today. Now, Cleavon, was that name? Cleavon Little? Is that?
Yeah, Cleavon Little. Cleavon Little.
Cleavon, that's how you say
it. That's how I say it.
Oh, so it was the 50th anniversary. 1974 it came out.
That makes better sense because I thought I was in high school when it came out.
Now,
at least when I saw it.
Did he didn't have much of a career after that, did he? I mean,
not much, but I think if I remember correctly, Cleavon Little actually did more Broadway stuff. But, he was more like, he was more Broadway than he was cinema.
Yeah, stage, film, and television actor. Right.
Richard Pryor, I think, was the one they wanted for that role. I thought.
Wow.
And due to either drug use or drug abuse or contract disputes, I think Cleavon Little got it.
I think he died. Yeah, he did die before Richard Pryor. He died young, 53, 1992 he died.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was just wondering if, there was something, you know what? He had a white wife. He did find out where the white women were.
Found one, They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there. I was just wondering if that movie had anything to do with shortening his film career, because he was very good in that, and it's like an iconic role. Everybody recognizes him from that. Why wasn't he in more films? And I get some people like the stage better, but it just seemed like opportunities might have dried up for him in that sense. Anyway.
But nobody else's career dried up after that, I don't think.
Right, I'm looking at
actually, I don't think anything happened with any of the black extras, so forget them. But like
Mel Brooks, Gene Wilder, Madeline Kahn, Harvey Korman, Alex Karras, who had a TV career after that, was a football player before that. Yeah, you're right. No, none of those people. But because he was saying where the white women at.
Yeah. Or like now, but I mean, there are, because there's they had a lot of people there who had they were B actors anyway. Like if you looked at the people from the town, the mayor and so forth, all of the Johnsons, they were like all B actors anyway.
Right.
Character actors. Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise was in. I forget him in that movie. He was in that movie.
He was a cameo pretty much toward the very end. He was the director of the Sissy movie.
I'm going through the Slim Pickens was in that movie.
Yes.
Burton Gilliam, he was a B guy. David Huddleston, he was like the typical David Huddleston. If I wish I could pull up his picture really quick. He's just like typical Southern dipshit in every television show. I think he might have been in Dukes of Hazzard or something. You would recognize him definitely as the Southern asshole in every movie.
Yeah.
John Hillerman, he's probably one of these guys you were talking about, like B guys, or I don't recognize any of these other names or even their pictures. Gum Chewer. Don McGowan played Gum Chewer in the movie. Imagine that happening. That's your IMDb credit. gum chewer. Anyway, so we are waiting Willie coming back. But yeah, so how old is Mel Brooks? I want to find it. He's still with us, right? Mel
I think so. I'm thinking he's like maybe 90 because
gotta be.
I'm thinking the members of the other members of that ilk of that period are like dropping like flies, pretty much.
Yeah, Carl Reiner was just so he's born in 26. That would make him 98, right? Okay. Yeah, 98. Yeah, wow, man, and he still with us. Born June 28th, 1926. Willie's coming back, but he's very white right now. You see on the bottom how white he is. He's a very white guy.
I think he could. Well, he can fix that with some shoe polish.
Shoe polish.
Yeah, shoe polish.
Oh yeah. Let me take that out. Anything else that is in the news that you guys want to talk about, or things going on in the world while we're waiting for the next guest?
I was just wondering when Taylor Swift was going to make her appearance on this show. I mean, she's everywhere else. Why haven't we gotten a shot at her?
Shot at her in what way? You mean have her on the show?
Wow. Yeah, it's just on the show.
None of us have a shot in the other way. Right. I have a show coming up on Saturday.
Speak for yourself.
Where is the show on Saturday?
It's at Windy City Bites, and it will be benefiting the Banquet of Sioux Falls, which is they feed like the homeless and the less fortunate. So half of the door is going to the banquet. So we would really love to have
no money, just a half a door.
The other half of the door
half of the ticket sales are going to be donated, and it's the Comedy Slam. Logan Hartnett is defending his title. He won the Comedy Slam in December, and so now he's got to defend his title. So
let's talk about this. This is not, it's no big deal, but it's curious to me that in comedy. Sure. Things like talked about in violent terms. He killed. He's a murderer. He crushed. Comedy slam.
The crowd. You killed. Yeah.
What is the attraction to violent language with comedy? Why? What?
Yeah.
I'm
not. I can't speak to it as a whole, but I know that like the producer of the show, Dylan Times. Who we had Dylan on, I think, didn't we?
Yeah.
I thought we did. But anyway, he's a really wrestling fan, and so I kind of think that that's the thing behind it. Is it that's kind of what he's into or whatever. And but I mean,
but
especially
it seems to be
around here,
nationwide. I mean, I'm hearing this everywhere. Like, Carlos Mencia called himself the Punisher. He claimed that other people called him that. I don't think anybody ever really called him that.
Well, I think maybe some of his early people who listened to his early comedy felt punished, and so that may have been.
I never thought he was.
It was a punishment to go to his shows.
Yeah, I am definitely exposing my little stereotypical racism here, but Hispanic guys yelling at me. I can't get into the mood of comedy when like George Lopez pulled the same stuff and Paul Rodriguez did the same stuff. Just come out yelling at the audience like I'm trying to laugh here. Don't yell at me. I understand it's like a cultural thing, but
I don't think
it's cultural. I do it a lot. Jeez, what?
The angry yelling at the crowd, coming out like. Yelling at the top of his lungs, like in an angry tone. That's Carlos Mencia.
Not in an angry tone, in an excited tone. Usually, I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" Like that.
And also, you're hard of hearing.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true.
Right. So the Super Bowl is this weekend.
Yes.
And somebody came out with another conspiracy theory about Taylor Swift and all this stuff, and they were.
I was watching that. I was watching a video this morning about how her album is named 13.
13.
And it's on. Yeah. Right. Like
49 is 4 and 9. So 49 is 13.
Yeah. Like, so you saw that? Yeah, I saw that same video that is all markers that the Chiefs are going to win. You know, they're probably going to win by 13. That's probably, I'm going to predict that. That's what I'm going to predict.
Let's go with
Chiefs,
that.
not only will the Chiefs win, but they'll win by 13 points. That's
and they'll have 13 points.
Well, let me just say, I did not see the video. No, it's not going to
be 13-0. That's definitely not going to happen. What?
Yeah, I didn't see the video, but it was all over Twitter. Like, I think somebody's name, is it Taylor Swift? Her name has got 13 letters in it. No, is that not true? I don't know. But
no, that's not.
It was something like that. Like names add up to.
I mean, maybe with her middle name. I guess I don't know what her middle name is.
Maybe. But yeah, it was. But it was all over Twitter. Like 90 different tweets that I saw were talking about this conspiracy theory around 13 and Taylor Swift, and that proves it's a deep state setup. I mean, we have lost all reason in society. You know, we're just getting dumber and dumber by the day.
We are
right.
Speaking of dumber and dumber by the day, I
guess it's a little late.
No, I was happy to see that the Supreme Court. Actually, I'm waiting on their arguments today about hearing Donald Trump's arguments for staying on the Colorado ballot. That's today.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that was definitely on for today.
And some channels, there's actually you'll be able to hear a live stream of it when they do it. The arguments they were live streaming the arguments. Of course, it's only audio because there's no cameras allowed, which I think is ridiculous. I think the Supreme Court, I think all the federal courts should allow cameras. I think the people need to see what's going on. And
no, I agree with that.
Yeah. I do too. I think that would be a good thing. You know, the only problem with that, and this is, I think, very true, is that cameras change everybody's behavior.
Oh, yeah. Observation changes people. As soon as people realize they're being observed, living creatures, as soon as living creatures realize they're being observed, their behavior changes.
Right. I gotta say.
Wait. You're telling me your toaster doesn't change when you start looking at it? Mine does.
No, your perception of your toaster. Your perception of your toaster changes once you start staring at it, but your toaster doesn't care that it's being stared at.
I'm trying to get the information that I can send to Chris, who is a little bit late. I don't want to miss him. I think this is a good conversation to have, and I would be really upset. Here it is. I just want to resend this and make sure he got it, because it would bum me out if he. Let me see.
Oh, did you send a link to Sam for the?
Yeah. Yeah, is that Black Flag?
Okay.
Yeah, I sent it to him.
Flag, yep.
I wanted to make sure that you remind them that the time zone issue, but I'll send it again right now.
I wanted to make sure because when I was in there on Tuesday getting my tattoo, he said he hadn't got it yet. So I wanted
you should look at his spam mail. If he's not getting it,
tell him I know how to do that too. So
yeah. Where is he?
I'll just send him the link over Messenger. I can do that.
Okay. I'm looking.
And it sounds like I know at least two of the three will be there.
Sam Babcock is. It's Sam Babcock, right? Yeah, here it is. I sent it on Sunday. I'm going to resend it right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Where is this? All right, resend it.
And then of course you reach out to that other guy. Oh, hey, I wanted to tell you, my wife and I got involved in this karaoke knockout. It's some sort of online competition where you could possibly win a trip to LA to go sing karaoke with some celebrity and get on some podcast. So we're both going to try and participate in that. The voting doesn't open until like the 19th or February 19th or something like that. But when it does, I'll definitely let you know, and I'll get you the links to it so people can go and vote or whatever. We are going to be doing that.
Have we ever discussed karaoke? Yeah, I feel like we probably talked about that at some point, right? It's like singing, but it's karaoke.
Yeah, no, because I did a bunch of karaoke. Those were the main shows that I was doing in New Mexico. Was this guy named Kevin Kennedy was doing these karaoke things where it's mainly karaoke. It's karaoke for like the first hour and a half, and then usually, like if there's a few comics that show up, there'll be like a comedy open mic where and depending on how many comedians there are, you might be able to do, because like one of the things I liked about doing it is I was one of the only comedians that would show up. So usually I could do like 20 minutes if I wanted to, you know what I mean? And it was just kind of like a break in the singing or whatever. But sometimes I would incorporate singing into it, like because I like to sing a Jim Croce song when there's a story I tell about when I was in middle school. There was this girl that I was really sweet on named Jessica Allen. Sat behind her in social studies or whatever. And one day, I think it was like right after I watched the movie Forever Young with Mel Gibson and Elijah Wood. There's a scene in that movie where Mel Gibson, says, well, hey, if you really like this girl, you need to tell her. And he was like, well, what do I tell her? He's like, do this, do that. He goes, sing to her, Well, I didn't sing to her. What I did is I called her up and I have to say I love you in a song by Jim Croce. Like literally, it was back in I think it was probably the early 90s at this point or whatever. And I knew her dad's name. And so I looked him up in the phone book. I called her house phone. And this is how you really knew. Like I knew Jessica had her own line, but I called a house phone. Am I killing you?
No, I can. You're killing me with this idea of calling her up to sing to. Good for you.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I would.
Her dad answers. I ask if Jessica's there, and he asks who it is, and I tell him who I am. Jessica gets on the phone.
I'm embarrassed already.
Anything to her. I just start playing the song. And then after the song finishes, I get on the phone. I was like, so what'd you think? And she goes, I always thought you were kind of weird, and now I know you're weird. Please stop talking to me. Just shut it down cold. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, the ideas of courtship of girls in school.
One of my favorite stories.
When I was a kid, I had next door neighbors who had 3 girls in the family, and they were all very attractive, even in junior high school or whatever, cuties. But there was a guy down the block who had a crush on the oldest one, and he played accordion. And he knew she was hanging out at this one house at the block with her friend, and they had the windows open. He brought his accordion over, and he was singing to her, but he couldn't sing well. And he was singing the corniest songs, and we were watching, just like laughing our ass off at what a fool.
And he was playing the accordion.
Yes, playing the accordion. But he was playing the goofiest song. I think one of the songs he sang was, and I might not have this right, but
I don't want her. You can have her. She's too fat.
No, we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, and like that was like pathetically weak at the time. Maybe I have it wrong, but this is in my mind. But I remember the next day. I was in 9th grade, and I was telling my friends, I heard Andy last night with his accordion. He was out there singing, we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. And everybody was having a big laugh at it. And then Andy came, and he got off the bus, and somebody said, hey, Andy, we had joy, we had fun. And they started rousing him about it. And he just saw me. He said, Napo! And he came running after me. Like, he wanted to kill me for telling everybody about it.
Right. I'm sure he did.
No, I still write poems. Poems for people.
The thing is, if you're gonna do that, you don't do it in front of a bunch of dudes who can watch you make the fool out of yourself. If you're gonna do the Cyrano de Bergerac big romance play to try to win this girl's heart, make sure it's just you and her and nobody around. So when you get rejected, nobody's gonna laugh at you or go to school and tell everybody what a fool you made of yourself. So it's not
they're not gonna laugh at you.
my buddy Peanut and I. Peanut actually, he was like a year older than I was, but he was like really cute, and I was not like. So I was like the ugly sidekick, guy. And so whenever he liked a
Wait, you're
girl,
psychic?
that was a psychic. Yeah, I
You
was the ugly psychic.
wow.
So I would say wingman, but I don't think wings were ever meant to be that ugly. So, but we would go to like a girl's house if we liked him, and he would like sing to her, and I would do like the background vocals, a cappella. We did that like maybe for 4 or 5 different girls, and it always worked for him.
I'm really concerned that Chris is not either this went to his spam mail or not showing up, or it's
that's unfortunate.
a guy because his since he was on. I'm just reading you from his email here now. Since I was on your show, I've completed 2 huge milestones. First, he successfully published his book, Live Longer and Better. And then he's also on the verge of launching a groundbreaking longevity health summit. Now, it would seem to me that a guy who could do all that would master time zones.
Could show up.
And he's been on my last time he was on the afternoon
He's
show.
Been here before, yeah.
Yeah. So he knows time zones. He knows I'm in a different time zone. So all I can think is the link is going to his spam mail. And if that's the case, he's not going to be here today because he won't see the link. And he probably thinks I stood him up.
How dare you stand him up, Matt? That is so rude.
Well, he was laying down, and I felt like I need to stand him up.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is
So
a
thoughtful
shame.
of you.
It's a real shame. Now,
Ain't that a shame?
Yes, it is a shame. As a matter of fact.
Now, isn't the in for the district third district in New York? Is that special election this Tuesday, or was that this Tuesday? Or is that next Tuesday?
You're asking me, and I don't know, and I should know if I'm on the ballot or I'm not on the ballot, or if the election was last week or this week. I thought I brought this up the other day. There's no talk about it here locally. None of it. You would think.
I work with Politipod, and they covered it in Politipod. They let you know what elections are coming up. And so they mentioned it on the 6th, which makes me think the election was either going to be on the 13th or the 20th.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be this week, but Santos was being talked about yesterday because he didn't make that vote. They said they needed his vote earlier in the week, and he wasn't there for it because they kicked him out, which was kind of the reason.
Yeah, and Matt Gaetz says that they needed Mark, the former speaker, Kevin McCarthy. Matt Gaetz says, and if he hadn't taken his ball and gone home, it's like he didn't take his ball and go home. Y'all fucking kicked him out.
Yeah. Yes. What's up?
I wanted to mention you were talking about jury duty when you first came on. So listen,
I call it duty jury.
The way to get out of it is you got to say that you hate cops and love criminals. Because if you hate cops and love criminals, they're never going to want you on that fucking.
Or either way. I think either way, you're gonna as long as you show favoritism towards one side.
A lot of my friends are felons, and that kind of thing. They'll be like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here."
I would do it differently. I would wear a shirt that says "No Lives Matter," and that.
Ooh. Pull a Larry Flint. Wear the American flag as a diaper. Judges hate that.
Right. I've been on jury duty before, and the problem with it is you never know how long it's going to last. Sometimes I've been on there where they settle the case while they're still picking the jury, and they dismiss you on the first day. You go there, and they say, "Well, the case has been settled. Thank you for your service," and you go home, and then you don't have to do it again for another 3 weeks or 3 years. But have you guys ever been, Willie? You're not going to get caught because you serve time, and they think you're probably on the side of the.
I mean, I could now technically, but they're never going to accept me as a former inmate, because I'm actually a registered voter in New Mexico.
Right.
I have my voting rights back.
So you're going to go there to vote? Or are you going to make a road trip to vote? Are you going to go back to New Mexico to vote?
Danica and I will be. Danica and I will be going back to New Mexico here shortly, but it's like I don't want to stay there. I don't want to be there long. I got too much shit going on, too much stuff I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
but that is we would like to get back into the recording studio, and we plan on recording in Albuquerque probably, but I still got a bunch of music to get done, and I need musicians too. So I don't know. It's murky right now. But I definitely don't want to get stuck in New Mexico because I really feel like it's just I don't flourish there, and I know I don't flourish there, and my wife knows that I don't flourish there. So I mean, we're trying to.
Your show business career is not going to take off in Grants, New Mexico, without a doubt. I mean,
and I mean, really, ideally, we need to get mobile. We need to have something where we can, because I have people that have equipment that they'll let me use and stuff like that. So if we're mobile and stuff like that, we can do a lot of different stuff, but we got to get our ducks in a row.
Right.
And that starts by settling things in New Mexico.
It sounds to me like you have big dreams. So are ducks big enough? I mean, should you be aiming for a bigger bird, like maybe geese or swans?
What are those ducks? Those birds that look like humans? They got like. All right. They got those big human faces, but bills out to here. I don't want to get into bird talk. Let's not. That's for the bird. My friends, and this has always been and listen, what I say is about my dopey fantasies. Please don't attach yourself to my dopey fantasies. But I always wanted a tour bus, and my friends who are my age now have been buying tour buses and things like that, or motorhomes, and converting them into road vehicles and I'm really jealous of them. Every time I see that, it's like, man, I want to do that so fucking bad.
I mean, that's what Danica and I essentially, we want to be a mobile entertainment unit to where we can drive to wherever, do some shows, go to the next place, do some show, and whether that's, original music that we do or whatever, because she's finally agreed to get more into the music thing with me, which I'm very excited about. But I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure that we're going to lean more towards the countryside of music. Because it's just more natural for both of us, and obviously Lonely Man is the country single that I put out that's already doing okay. So I mean, you got to lean into your strengths, you know what I mean? Yeah, of course. Well, you know what, watch The Lord and His Lady and you'll know if my wife is hot. Of course my wife is hot. I married her.
Right.
I think he was talking about somebody's mother. I thought he was talking. Maybe he's talking about her.
I
thought he was following Kelly's comments. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Was he? I don't think so.
But no, I definitely, Lisa Polizzi, this is funny. Lisa Polizzi, who's been on this program, she bought one of these tour buses on Craigslist marketplace or whatever. Spent like $15,000 on this tour bus type of thing, and it went to shit like a day after she picked it up, and then the guy had disappeared. But now she got another one, so she committed to it. Lisa goes down to Dollywood and wins the Dolly Parton contest every year. She's a really hardworking person in show business. I think she's got like 5 bands and stuff like that.
Is that the ventriloquist lady? Is that who you're talking about?
She was on she's the Janis Joplin singer. She's been on the program. Tom Kanopka was really impressed with. She does good Janis Joplin stuff.
Janis Joplin had an iconic voice, but also it's hard to do because she does it very well. I mean, her tribute is a complete costume tribute. It's a theatrical. I forget what Joplin's Experience. Yeah, that's what the Janis Joplin Experience. But really cool stuff. But she's also got like 5 other bands.
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
She came through Sioux Falls. I remember seeing that.
But so yeah, I'm jealous of her. My friend Vinny and his wife have Goldust Woman, a Stevie Nicks tribute band, and they got this little tour bus, and it's just like, you know what? It's what I always wanted. I love that. I love the idea, the romance of
Yeah.
it.
I'm working on
Right.
I'm
No, and
working
Danica
on
and I feel the same way.
I'm working on developing a GD Fenison tribute comedy tour.
You could do that in like a Mini Cooper.
Well, right now I have a now I can't remember the name of those electric motorbikes. It's not a Tesla. It's a damn it.
An electric motorbike, bro. Okay, now can you ride your electric motorbike on the streets? Because I have a friend who has one of those electric motorcycles, and here in Sioux Falls, you're not allowed to ride that on the street. You have to use the sidewalks. And my friend is like, he's like got autism or whatever. He's not fully developed, right? So he literally will ride down the sidewalk at like 25, close to 30 miles an hour, clipping along the sidewalk. And he literally hit a car that was backing out of their driveway. And, at first, when he first told me the story, I didn't realize that he was on this electric bike. And I felt like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody hit you, not, like they weren't looking out of their thing. And then his sister pipes up, well, he was going like 27 miles an hour. I was like, bro, I'm like, you cannot do that to people like that. Like, then I felt bad for the person backing out of their driveway, because I'm like, of course you don't think that the person you see half a block away is going to be there in seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I got a story that can top that, but let me just say that in New York, you have to go. You can drive them on the road, but you have to go to motor vehicle and register it as a motorcycle and get license plates for it and all that kind of stuff. The day my mother died, I had to cancel a gig. I had a gig that night with the band, and I almost never cancel, even in situations like that. I would try to make the gig, but I had to go, take care of family and stuff like that, and cancel the gig. Now they got a sub for me, and the guy was he committed to the gig, and then he was walking down the street, and there's a McDonald's. He was walking on a sidewalk. And there's a McDonald's, and a guy pulling out of the drive-through lane in the McDonald's ran over his feet and broke both of his feet that day. And then he had to go play the gig with 2 broken feet but it gets even more bizarre than that, because as soon as
he had to go play the gig, he got ran over by a car.
He got his feet run over by a car. So he went and got casts on his feet. Shows up at the gig. Why did Sirius come on? Siri, get off! Shut up! Shut down! My dog, Siri.
Stop listening, Siri.
Okay, I found this on the
fucking
web.
bitch. I found this on Beatbox and whatever. Because I said he got his feet run over. Is that what? So he got his feet run over, and he had him put in a cast, and he did show up because it was a kind of a late night bar gig. And 6 weeks later, he gets the cast off. He's walking down the same sidewalk and gets his feet run over again by a different.
Now, listen, at some point, this sounds like this dude's fault. Okay, I mean, listen, that's not happening to you twice in a row. Like, look for fucking video. Didn't they teach you to look both ways before you cross the fucking street, bro?
We're walking across the McDonald's driveway, where the drive-through comes out into the road. Yeah. The odds of that happening are like,
what that person doing. That person is looking in their bag to make sure
they're getting a fry
on their fucking.
No, they're reaching in for a fry. I want to taste one of these fries while I'm driving. They're not paying.
I'll tell you this: if I'm on foot walking by the exit of a drive-through, my head is on a fucking swivel, bro, because I don't trust any of those fucking people.
No, what you just did there, Willie, was walk like an Egyptian, not head on a swivel.
Yeah.
This is head on a swivel.
All right, anyway.
This is walk like an Egyptian. So I'm surprised you don't have more pedestrian accidents, not knowing the difference.
Right. I got so one time when I was walking to work, I was working at Arby's. This is back in like the early 2000s. And 41st and Louise is the biggest intersection in the entire state of South Dakota. It is the most heavy traffic in the entire state. And that's the intersection that I was walking across. Now I was on the left-hand side of the road and I waited for my walk signal to cross Louise. And there was a car in the right turn lane and they looked left for traffic, but they did not look right for pedestrians. Now, I had already been hit by a vehicle while walking or on my bicycle 7 times in my life. And when that happened to me the 7th time, I made a commitment to myself. I was like, the next motherfucker who hits me with their car while I'm walking or on my bike, I'm going to beat the fucking piss out of them. Like, I'm fucking tired of people not looking for pedestrians and shit, right? But so they don't look for pedestrians. They start pulling out. Now, granted, she's coming from a stop or whatever, but I get laid out on, like, I get clipped like just below the knees by the bumper, and I lay out on the fucking hood, and I look inside and I see the driver, and it's this little old lady. And I'm like, well, fuck, I can't beat up a fucking senior citizen right now, you know? But I was super fucking mad, so I punched her fucking hood, put a dent in her hood, and I kicked out her fucking tail light because I had these steel toes on. So I kicked out her headlight, and I punched her hood, kick out her fucking headlight, yell at her a little bit, and then I kept walking to fucking work. I get to fucking work, and I'm just living fucking pissed because, like, work was only like 3 more blocks. And so I get to fucking Arby's and I'm just fucking mad. I'm kind of throwing shit around or whatever. And they're like, hey, dude, what the fuck? Why are you so upset? And I'm like, I got hit by a fucking car on the way to fucking work today. And they're like, dude, I thought you didn't drive. I'm like, I don't. I was on foot. And they were like, dude, you got hit by a car on foot and you still came to work? I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. I'm fucking leaving. And I fucking clock out and I left. And yeah.
See, once you're there, it's kind of hard to just leave because you can't. See, I'm always looking.
I think they were glad I left. I think they were.
My whole life, I was looking for an excuse not to go to work. But so that would have, I would have never even considered. Like, oh, that's it. I'm in the hospital. I'm calling in. I got hit by a car.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would never think about anything else but not going to work. Like, what could I do today to not have to go to work? And so this minute I got hit by a car, I'd be okay. Thank you. I don't have to go to work today.
I suffered a heat stroke while I was working once. I was in the middle of fixing a line problem. I just back when I used to work for a company that rhymes with Comcast, and
mom.
And I suffered a heat
mom
stroke. But I was in the middle of fixing the
dash,
and I didn't have the cable connected back to their service.
Flom
and I was
dash,
like starting to vomit and stuff. And they can't. So I called for backup. I don't feel good. I was vomiting. I think I'm having a heat stroke. So by the time the help got there, I was like on the verge of passing out. And I wouldn't let them leave. I wouldn't let them take me to the hospital until we made sure that the cable service had been restored.
Palm mask.
Once the cable service was restored to them, then I let them take me to the hospital.
Not fast. Bun last.
Not
I don't. I'm confused.
That was a great story, GD. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh wait, there was a story. I got stuck on the rhymes with com flash rom pass
romcat. Yeah.
Flom Nash. Class.
I think Momcast is a porn site.
Okay. I'm going back to politics for a second here because it's funny. There was a primary in Nevada this week. Are you familiar with the primaries in Nevada this week?
Oh, with Nikki Haley.
Yeah. Well, not just Nikki Haley.
She lost. She lost to nobody.
They didn't allow.
She lost to nobody. None of the above.
Yeah.
None of the above was the big winner in the GOP.
Yeah, about 30 points.
Hey,
The thing is,
that's who I'm
why this is
for,
funny to me. Right. You listen, none of the above. The thing is, you got people out for like if I'm not going to vote for anybody on the ticket, I'm not going. But people actually showed up. They got off the couch to go vote for none of the above. That is good for none of the above for getting people motivated to go out.
And so I think the trick is, if you're going to run for office in Nevada, your last name needs to be none of the above.
Yeah.
You will win just about every
what an idea.
I would love to do an exit poll. I mean, by the way, Willie is going to have, and we'll all have press credentials probably within the next 6 weeks. We are incorporating as a media corporation, and with that automatically goes nationwide press. So, Willie, this is probably your best opportunity to actually meet Jelly Roll.
Yeah, well, no, because there's a 5K happening in May in Austin, and yeah, I already told Danica that I want to go, but yeah, no, that part of what
you probably use it to get into concerts and stuff. Yeah,
yes, but I mean, yes. I want to do more of that, and yes, interview people. That would be fucking dope as fuck, bro. I will fucking go wherever you tell me to go. But
I would love to have been there to do an exit.
That'd be great.
I would love to have been there to do an exit poll with the people who voted for none of the above, just to see who those people are and why the fuck didn't you just stay home? I mean, they felt passionate enough about it to say, I got to go there and vote for none of the above. What is Kelly saying? We have daily Zoom meetings.
She just hung up on her Zoom meeting.
Well, if I get
we're way more
when I get my press credential, I will get a banner that says "Coffee with the Dog." Interview.
Yeah, a flag, a microphone flag. Little.
Yeah.
But also, like when the elections come around, I can park my car just outside, where you're allowed to, where you can park to interview exit polling people, and put the banner up so that people know that I'm there to interview them, so you come over.
Right. Now, will it be under Mind Dog TV though? What will it? It'll be under Mind Dog TV.
Right? Yeah, Mind Dog TV. Yeah.
Okay, great. I love that. I'm so excited, bro. I cannot
need a logo and something. I'll have to get one of those little microphones that you can talk to that hooks up to the phone through YouTube, through Bluetooth, right?
Yeah.
So that you know what I'm talking about, the wireless mic?
They have those.
I don't have. Right,
the way, and you could do that, but the way it's typically done, or most people are doing it now, is they have a fake microphone with the flag on it, and they take a little lavalier and put it on their shirt, just click it on their shirt. The lavalier is going to the phone or whatever, and they're holding a fake microphone with the flag on it, making it.
That's how I do my fake news segments. I used to do. I used to call it GDTV. And I'll be out like that, but my microphone wasn't hooked up to anything. It was it was just there for them.
Yeah,
and you guys, you can tell that, because sometimes I would set the mic down,
aesthetics,
and the volume wouldn't change.
Aesthetics are important. Having the right look of it, because like when I went to the mall, when I went to the mall that day during the Podathon, I think what was really missing or whatever was the aesthetics of it. Like I really, because I just seemed like a weirdo. That was like,
just
hey,
seemed like
over here and talk to me on this fucking podcast, and they're like, "What do you like?"
A dude with a phone wants to talk to me.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And they were just like, that seems weird, But yeah, aesthetics account for a fucking lot, I think.
But I think. Like it's bigger than even just all this stuff that we're talking about, because I think you can get into the Grammys with these kind of all those kind of award shows, concerts. Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah,
so we could actually start like our own Joan Rivers red carpet thing.
Exactly. Now somebody
version of Fashion Police.
Somebody told me they're getting cast in a Man on the Street type of show, and they wanted to know if I had any advice for them on how to do man on the street stuff. It's a difficult thing. You have to have not just an outgoing personality. You got to be quick on your feet with some of those things, because like you get all sorts of people who either want to be on for attention and all that kind of stuff, or people who just don't want to be on. You got to be able to deal with all that. It's not a thing that's for everybody. But
and you have to be able to run in case somebody snatches your mic and runs away from you. You have to be able to run after them and catch them and tackle them.
I mean, that's true too. That's true too.
You have to be able to defend. You have to be able to stand your ground.
Jeff Altman, you remember?
I know. I can specialize in interviewing police officers after they've beaten suspects.
Jeff Altman.
I can say things like, okay, Officer Smith, why did you choose the chokehold as opposed to a full Nelson? Or Officer Brandon, you actually kicked him 4 times. Did you think 2 would have been sufficient? Are you going for a police officer record? Are you going for like a precinct record with the 4 kicks as opposed to just stopping at 2?
Let me see if I can share.
I want to do that, Matt. Give me a police scanner so I can follow that kind of stuff. And I can show up and interview the officer. Like
you can download. There's like an app.
There is actually you can actually make money with that. I was doing that for a while locally here. They send you like alerts and go get us some phone footage of this whatever, and they pay you for it on the spot. I was doing that for a while right before the pandemic, just having fun with that stuff. I want to see if I can share this because I'm pretty sure you guys don't. Do you guys know Jeff Altman? Do you remember who he is? Do you know anything about Jeff Altman?
He was a comedian.
I don't think so.
He was a comedian.
He was like around the same time as Miller. Not Dennis Miller, but the Miller the other Miller.
Larry Miller.
Larry Miller, who was an actor also. He also became an actor.
Right. This is Jeff.
My buddy was his neighbor.
This is Jeff Altman. He was in Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield. He was in Dukes of Hazzard, Boss Hogg's Kid. He's a friend of. He's been on the program a couple of times.
Okay, sure.
He's David Letterman's best friend in life forever, and he was at the Indianapolis 500. And somebody they recognized Letterman. They didn't recognize Altman. And they went up to Altman with a camera and said, "Would you take my picture with David Letterman?" And it was a really expensive camera. It was like, the guy was there to shoot the Indy 500. Hands Jeff Altman the camera and says, "Would you take my picture with David Letterman?" And Altman says, "Yeah, fine. Get up against the wall there." He goes to pose with Letterman, and Altman takes off as fast as he can with the guy's $50,000 camera or whatever. He just ran away with it. When you said Ted grabs a microphone and runs away, that's exactly the story that came to mind. Like, and he does it so convincingly. Obviously, he brought it back at some point, but he's really good with that stuff. Yeah, right, Jeff.
Right.
Jeff was big time, man.
Was like, oh no!
Yeah. He played Rodney Dangerfield's coke dealing neighbor in Easy Money. Good stuff. Anyway, let's get him back on the program. He's available mornings. He's a magician. His father was a magician, and he got his start in the Magic Castle doing close-up magic for a lot of people. But great guy.
Speaking of magic, and we mentioned Harrison Ford, did you guys see the clip? And I'm sure it's plenty old, I'm sure. But have you seen Harrison Ford and David Blaine, that clip of them? Where David Blaine pulls Harrison Ford's fucking card out of a piece of fucking fruit that had no blemishes. Pulls Harrison Ford card out of a piece of fruit, and he's like, "Get out of my house!
Get the fuck out of my house!"
Like immediately, he was like, "Listen here, devil man, I don't want you in my home."
Right.
But like, okay, so like some magicians, that do the illusion, the trickery. That's one thing. But like David Blaine and stuff like that, dude, some of these magicians scare the absolute fuck out of me, bro. I'll admit that I'm one of those people that if you do some highly impossible shit right in front of my face, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna be like what the fuck? Like, listen here. Like, I want to know who you made the deal with. I want to know what the devil looks like. Why don't you tell me? You know what I mean? I'm gonna start asking some different kind of questions. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna be like, you are aligned with something not good, sir. You know what I mean?
Speaking of disappearing, did we make governors go away?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.